A leaked snippet of a 2016-ish Kendrick Lamar verse that takes direct aim at Jay Electronica, Big Sean, French Montana, and makes mention of Drake and Meek Mill has surfaced online as of yesterday, and it made its rounds first on Twitter and then around the rest of the internet. But a lot of people didn't believe it. A lot of people are calling this like an AI deepfake, and so we're going to talk about that. Is this real or is this fake? And what are these lyrics even in reference to? What's up, y'all? I'm Devon here again for Obligatory, bringing you another weekly roundup of music news as we do on this channel every Friday. Today is September 8th. 2023. We have a great list of topics today. All of them are listed down in the timestamps. Jump around if you want, be my guest. But we'll start, of course, with Kendrick Lamar's verse here. So what we have is Kendrick rapping over the beat for what would be his collaboration with the LA group SOBRBE, which landed on the Black Panther album. Now the Twitter or X account that posted this claims it is an original version of the song Element from 2017's Damn. I haven't really figured out if that's true. I haven't really made that connection, but maybe someone down in the comment section can fill us in. And the clip starts with him talking about French Montana. Fuck subliminals, I'll put you on the roll call. French Montana speaking on me on interviews, very cynical, dry hating, something I don't approve. We're gonna have to put our 2016 hats on, which I know for many of us has taken us a long ways back. Some of y'all were in grade school, and that's a little sad to say, but this, of course, was freshly in response to some, kind of dry hating ass interview that French Montana did on The Breakfast Club.
You didn't answer the question about the street rap, though. Why you think Kendrick sells more than like street rappers?
Because they position him like how they did in the Grammys as the new music. Well, I don't feel like that's, it's not that it's not the right thing to do, but I just feel like you see it's like the whole thing was like Kendrick night.
Then he shifts his aim to Jay Electronica when he says, Jay Electronica put silences on my Grammy night, another dead prophet hoping the God will give him life. And honestly, I don't know exactly what Jay Electronica said specifically about Kendrick Lamar winning Grammys or nominated for Grammys, but just to show y'all what he was saying about Kendrick around that time and Kendrick's music, here's a clip of him responding to fans on a Periscope live stream.
Kendrick will body you. Look, you couldn't pay Kendrick $1 million. Kendrick wouldn't tell you. Kendrick could tell you himself he couldn't body me. Kendrick, look, Kendrick is my son. Kendrick is my baby. Kendrick wishes that he could be me.
I would say Big Sean probably gets it the worst here. The two of them have had a Cold War back and forth sort of beef for years around this era, never really directly calling one another out, but here's one of Big Sean's soft disses. And I'm just not impressed by y'all rapping fast who sound like one big asthma attack but trash when I rap it back. Who you put in your top 5 and claim is the savior of rap. And a lot of the shots that they have been taking at one another are like that. They are kind of pointed but vague at the same time. But on this track, Kendrick is naming names. He says, Big Sean keeps sneak dissing, I'll let it slide. I think his false confidence has got him inspired. I can't make them respect you, baby. It's not my job. You finally famous for who you date, not how you rhyme. Cute ass raps get your puberty up, then make you a classic album before you come at us. Drake and Meek Mill beef might got you gassed up, but I'm a whole nother beast. I'll really fuck you up. So, is this AI or is this Kendrick? I mean, really the AI technology today is getting impressive to the point where, if we have several recordings of someone speaking directly and clearly into a microphone, then it's relatively easy to emulate that voice. But I don't know about y'all, but when I hear these, something is always off. They never really pass the smell test. Either you hear whoever's actual voice in whoever's voice it's supposed to be, or the voice itself, the tone, the tenor just doesn't sound right, or the rhythm and the cadence that this person usually uses is off. This sounds so much like Kendrick, how he raps, how he sounds, what he would say, who he would say it to. Today's AI deep faking is not up to this standard, unless of course the US government is doing it. Now, if my hunch isn't enough for you, then this clip actually surfaced online in 2019, just a shorter version of the clip. And I think that's why this didn't catch quite the traction it's catching today. But we know it's the same because the Big Sean diss is the same in this one. But again, I think as far as I can tell, that earlier version didn't have all this French Montana and Jay Electronica side of things to it. Y'all are gonna have to go dig a little bit and go listen and tell me, because we're not gonna post it here, because everywhere I've seen it online, it's gotten copyright struck down. Another reason, maybe not, that it's real. Kid Cudi's upcoming 9th studio album entitled Insano was set to come out this year, probably sometime in the coming weeks. But the rapper had to take to Twitter this week to announce some bad news that the record is getting pushed back to January. He says, "I have to push Insano back till January. I want to make sure that everything lines up and I give y'all the best version of myself. This album is amazing and I want to make sure I present it in the best way for y'all." He also goes on to say, "I will still plan on releasing the next single soon." And then he decided to throw us a bone and leak 2 of the Insano songs to SoundCloud for people to listen to, and those are up now. Later on in this string of tweets, fans are asking him still about this Solo Dolo Part 4 song, which features Playboi Carti. This is a song that he played live in concert at some point, said it was going to be on his next project. Then later we find out that Playboi Carti won't clear the song, so Kid Cudi can't use it, or at least with him on it. Of course, fans are still asking, and he is asking fans to stop asking about Solo Dolo Part 4. Basically, delete it out of your mind is what he said. It's not happening. You know, this album has had issues with leaks like months ago, so maybe they're going back to the drawing board a little bit, remaking or rearranging the album in a way so people who heard the leak haven't heard the finished product. That may take time. Also, you know, November, December, not great album releasing months, at least for an artist like Kid Cudi. It's a pretty dry time of year for releases at that point, and they might want to just jump ahead into January, new fiscal year, business shit, whatever. But in that light, it makes a little bit more sense. Again, never really against it. More time in the ovens, probably better. But I will say, I think a little bit of steam has been taken out of the hype train for this album. Hope it can get it back. We'll see in January. Danny Brown hooked up with Rolling Stone for an interview and a feature, kind of letting us know what's up with him post-rehab and his ongoing journey with sobriety. This is something that kind of came to a head earlier in the year, but it kind of coincided with the event of him getting a little bit frustrated on his podcast publicly with his record label Warp holding on to his Quaranta album, which he says he's turned in long ago at this point. In another episode of his podcast, he walked back that statement a little bit and basically said it was part of one of the reasons he needed to go back to rehab. And this is something that he said publicly at shows as well. No real updates on the Quaranta album as far as I can tell, or what's going on with new music from him. Again, it's mostly just what's up with Danny Brown. And I'm glad to know that Danny Brown is in pretty decent shape, at least at the moment. Well, if you've ever wondered why it is you have to pay $45 for a plain Gildan t-shirt or a $70 crew neck when you're at the merch table at a concert, Jeff Rosenstock is breaking that down for anybody who's willing to listen. Jeff just released his 5th studio album this past week, Hell Mode. It's pretty good. Check it out. He's already embarked on a US tour to support the project, but not before he would take to social media to highlight why it is he's charging different prices for the same merch in different cities along different spots of the tour. To better illustrate why and to highlight the financial burden that a lot of touring artists are under, he posted a screenshot of the spreadsheet he has of the different rates, the different taxes that each individual venue is taking out of the merch sales from each show. Soft merchandise are the clothes, the hard merchandise are like the vinyl, CDs, and that kind of thing. And you'll see some of the bigger cities, some of the bigger venues like NYC or Boston or DC charging significantly more. Some of these places have caveats like if you sell out the building, then we'll take a lesser cut. And that's kind of how this business works. But the problem is that most of these venues, especially the ones he's having an issue with right now, are either owned or operated or partnered with companies like Live Nation and AEG, who naturally have stakes in Ticketmaster. And none of this stuff is necessarily artist first or consumer first or artist friendly or any of that. And I don't know, I just always thought the prices were what they were and that if the merch was actually good, you know, it was worth the price. But, you know, for the most part, it is really all just the economics of it at the end of the day. And shout out to Jeff Rosenstock for giving us kind of an inside look on what that actually looks like right now. Slauson Malone, the very enigmatic LA-based artist who was once a part of the Standing on the Corner collective, announced a month or so ago that he has a new partnership with Warp Records. It didn't immediately come with an announcement of new music, but since we have received 2 new singles, and now we have official word that his new album will be titled Excelsior. It's set to be released October 6th. It's 18 tracks, just under 40 minutes. So far, the singles sound in line with stuff like what you would have heard on the Crater Speak EP. I'm sure the majority of the work here will expand beyond that, but in a way, it feels like a pretty good follow-up to it. And the vinyl, CD, MP3 pre-orders are up now on the Warp website, along with mock-ups of of the packaging as well as the cover art. I'm pretty excited about this. This is actually a project I've been really looking out for and looking forward to and waiting to hear news about. Excited to report on, and here we are. It's coming in just a few weeks. Drake announced that his For All the Dogs album that he's been rolling out for months now at this point now has a release date of September 22nd. So far as I know, not really a lot of information out about the album yet, but it's a Drake album. You probably know whether you're gonna like it, love it, or hate it. Last week, we mentioned how Cameron announced that Mace of Bad Boy Records was set to be getting his publishing returned to him from Diddy and Bad Boy Records, which we are now learning this week is a part of a full-on move for all the artists of Bad Boy to get their publishing returned back to them. So that includes artists like Faith Evans and the Group 112 and the Notorious B.I.G. estate, which is cool. You know, we can definitely knock Diddy for keeping them for the first 20 years, but this is relatively unprecedented and a cool thing. And BG of the Hot Boys has been released from prison after serving an 11-year sentence. If you don't know, the Hot Boys were a rap group founded by Birdman and Cash Money Records, featuring Lil Wayne, Juvenile, Turk, and BG. And at the time they formed, they were some of the hottest and up-and-coming rappers from the Louisiana area. And so they became somewhat of a super group, and they are still very iconic in representing that early Cash Money era and sound. BG's biggest hit featured Lil Wayne on the hook, in which he's credited for coining the term bling bling. BG's son, T.Y., is a rapper as well and was signed to Jet Life Recordings, owned and operated by Currency, who is another Louisiana-based Cash Money, Young Money affiliated artist. So if you're a classic hip hop fan or a Southern hip hop fan or Louisiana area, this is really exciting to have all four Hot Boys as free men at one time. Now, is this going to precipitate some sort of a reunion? No clue. A song, a show, a tour, a project would be nice, but all I know right now is welcome home, BG. Montreal producer Nicholas Craven announced this week he's got another album with Boldy James coming soon. He says it's being mixed and mastered currently. And I bring this up because 2022's Fair Exchange No Robbery was their first collab, and it was one of my favorite albums of the year. Boldy James is an amazing rapper. Him and Nicholas Craven have really, really good chemistry. And then Earl Sweatshirt and the Alchemist new album VOIR DIRE is still not on the major streaming services. It is on the One Gala music streaming service, which is free to listen to if you just make an account. It's pretty easy, but we're still waiting to get it on all the platforms if it is supposed to be on all the platforms. But some internet folks have unearthed a song that was allegedly supposed to be on that album, a song with a Vince Staples feature. And I have a link down in the description if you want to listen to it. And then we have a massive and honestly devastating RIP to Steve Harwell of Smash Mouth, which made All-Star. It's one of the great songs of all time. It landed in one of the great movies of all time in Shrek. Jimmy Buffett, on the other hand, lived a pretty good life, dying this week at the age of 79. Albums coming soon. We just did a big old update on the list of albums we are keeping tabs on for the rest of the year. There's like at least 60 or 70 new albums coming in the next few months. October's looking pretty good. November and December, like I said, get a little bit dry, but I'm sure we'll get some other cool stuff later on in the year as well. Also, if you like to rate and review music, that's what we do with our album review surveys that get posted weekly. They are always linked in the description of these videos. We also do a weekly new releases breakdown on this channel. Dominic shows you the entire slate of new albums and singles that drop on Friday. If we put you up on something new today or you just like the video, hit the like button. It's a great way to get us seen by more folks. And of course, a subscription is the best way to keep track of our weekly videos. And I'll be back next week with another one of these Friday weekly music news segments. So we appreciate y'all watching to the end. We love y'all. Obligatory forever. Peace out. Thank you. Bye.